just going to walk you through some of the capabilities of the flag configuration pipeline steps. So first of all, I've got this project set up. I've got a few feature flags in it. The one we're going to be playing with mostly is this multivariate flag. We got a few targets, and we got a couple of target groups, and an environment all set up. Okay, so let's pop over here, and we're going to create a pipeline. Just call this test, and let's get started with it. So first of all, we're going to create a feature flag stage, and then here we're going to add a flag configuration step. Okay, so a few things we could do here. We need to select an environment, a flag, and what we want to do to it. So we're going to say we're going to do this operation on this flag in this environment, and these are the operations. Okay, so your options here are if you want fixed, runtime, or expression. So we're going to start off with fixed for everything, just to see how that all works. So we're going to select the demo environment, and we're going to select our multivariate flag. So down here, your options for flag changes are you can have the entire thing as a runtime input. So we'll figure out which ones of these you want to actually do when you actually go to run it, or as fixed. And if you do fixed, you have various options here. Set flag switch will turn the flag on or off. Set default on rule will say when the flag is on, which variation we're going to serve. Set default off rule is when the flag is off, which variation we're going to serve. Serve variation targets is just what it sounds like. We are going to serve a specific variation to these chosen targets. Same thing with target groups, and then serve percentage rollout to a target group, where we'll select a specific target group and say what variations should be rolled out to that. So start off with a really simple one, which is set flag switch. So we're going to just set this as a fixed input, and we're going to say we're going to turn things off. Okay. So now we save that. When we run this, we shouldn't see any inputs because we haven't asked for anything to be runtime. There we go. That's great. That's nice and quick. So pop over here, and we'll see we just turned this one off. Okay, so flag multivariate turned off. Great. So back over into our pipelines, and back into here. We'll see this is exactly what we did. So what about the next one? Set variation. Set default rule. So this one here again, it's going to get our variations of whatever flag you've selected. So if we do dependent flag, this one is now a Boolean, whereas the multivariate one will show us the actual ones. Okay, same thing. We're going to say we want value 3 to be set. We can apply those changes and save and run that. Okay, so I'm going to run the pipeline, and now we should be able to pop back here and see that our multivariate flag now has sharing of value 3. Okay, cool. So what about doing some runtime? All right, so let's just jump onto the third one here. Well, this fourth one actually. Serve variation targets. So for us to know what variations there are, we need to know what the flag is. And for us to show what targets there are, we need to know what the environment is. So if the environment up here was set as a runtime input, that means we can't tell you what targets exist. So you have to tell us later on. So we'll set that automatically for you as a runtime input. You can override that and set it as an expression if you want to specify those things in a bit of in a variable. Okay, so let's try this one here. So we're going to serve variation 1 to whatever this is. So we're going to apply that, save it, and then run. So now we're being asked for the environment, and then when we tell the environment, we will then be able to figure out what targets exist. So I'm just going to select a few of these here, and then we're going to go ahead and run that. So now that's completed, we can pop over to our feature flag again, and we'll see those targets have been added. Okay, let's just remove those just to keep things nice and tidy. Okay, so pop back over here. There we go. So what about setting the I'm going to do a nice simple one here. So set flag switch. We're going to set that. Let's have whether this is set as on or off as being a variable. So I'm going to say expression. First of all, I'm going to set up that variable. So I'm going to come over here to variables, and I'm going to create a new full pipeline variable just to show that's a little bit easier. And I'm going to call this flag state. And the value of that is going to be on. So we know that flag currently is off. We're going to set this as on. Okay, apply that, pop into here, and let's get rid of this one and set it as this. Okay, so we are going to set the this here back to fixed just for simplicity. And so the only variable we got going on now is this one here. We're going to set this to expression. Okay, so in our expression, we're going to say pipeline dot variable, if I can type, variables dot flag state, which is what we set it up as. Okay, let's save that. We can have a look here at our YAML just to see what's going on. So we've got this step is going to happen. We are going to do our transformations on this particular flag in this particular environment, and we are going to set the flag state to being whatever this is. And you can see down here, this is our pipeline, variables, and then our flag state. So it's going to set this to on. So we'll go ahead and run that. We've got no runtime inputs, so that should start up. Great. Now we pop back over into feature flags. We should see that, yes, this has been set to on. Okay, let's jump back here and put it back into visual mode, back into our configuration, and let's have a look at some of the other ones. Okay, so serve variation targets, show that, get those if it's available, and serve variation target groups, same thing. Select the variation, select the target group, and then serve percentage rollout to target group. So first of all, we have the percentage rollouts are based on target group. So we have the select one. We're going to say target group 1, and then we need to know what to bucket by. So the default is identifier. Bucket by, what that does is it makes sure that whenever we are figuring out who's going to get which of these values here, that we know which one of these buckets it lands into, just to make sure that happens consistently every single time. Okay, so we can set this to something else. So there we go. So 52, 15, 30. Sorry, yeah. So hit apply on that, save those changes, run them, and there we go. That should be done. Pop back over here and multivariate flag, and there we go. So our things have popped up. Okay, so this is the one we set up before, and this is the new percentage rollout we created. Go ahead and save that just to get rid of those complications. And back into our pipeline. Okay, so what else can we do? So let me just delete some of these. Great. So what if you wanted to set some of these as being percentage rollout? Sorry, not percentage rollout. Runtime. So as I said, for whenever we set something as runtime up here, it can affect things down here. So by setting this to that, setting the environment to runtime, we get that. And if we set our flag to runtime, we get that as well. So this is now a runtime input, as is this. So I hit save there, run that. Now we're waiting on these both being set. And as soon as you set one of them, it becomes available. And multivariate, great. And another thing you do here is you can save this, or whatever you've done, as an input set. So I'm going to say this is going to be set value to targets. Save that. Great. Now, if we were to cancel out, go to run this again, we could then say we want to use this, apply it, and we'll see we get those values popping back in. We could run. That's great. And again, from the, let's get that out of the way. From here, from the input sets, we can say run pipeline. It'll automatically get these things in, and you can just run the pipeline again. All right. So that's a brief run through. There's lots of complicated things you can do with the actual let me just say add pipeline, the variables. So as long as you are actually breaking things up. So if we want to say, let's see a nice simple one. We're going to put targets in as an expression. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to simplify this again, just to make sure we know what we're doing. So say demo environment, set this to fixed. We're going to go multivariate. Again, here, we're going to do value 1. And just for this, I'm going to figure out what some of them are. So let's do demo and rn. So we want to set those two as an expression. Okay, so currently I'm just going to just set those two just so I can have an idea when looking at the YAML. Okay. So we can see that targets has to be an array with the things. So let's set up a brand new variable. I'm just going to do it in here just to show how it can be done in the YAML as well. So create a new name, and this is going to be targets. And our type is going to be string again, and our description, we'll leave that blank. And then our required, we're going to leave that as false again. I'm just going to keep into the standards. And then value. So value is going to be we're going to give this just a list of the things. So we want demo and rn. So we're going to say demo and rn. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an expression which is going to take these two and split them up and then put them in as an array. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to pop up here, pull this out, and we're going to say pipeline dot variables dot targets dot split, and then we're going to split that on a comma. Make sure to close off our expression. Okay, so that looks like it should be all right. Targets we'll grab this variable, and then we're going to split it up, and that's going to return an array. So let's go ahead and run that. And there we go. So if we pop back over to our flag, multivariate flag, and we see these two are added. Just to make sure that it did definitely run in the way we thought it did, let's remove those back to our pipeline, and we're just going to run it again using that split. Great, that succeeded. And just to double check, come back in here, and yes, they came in through. Okay, so let me just remove that. Let's save again. All right, so over in pipelines, getting things like percentage rollout is a little bit more tricky. What you're going to need to do there is consult the docs on pipelines to make sure you understand how strings can be manipulated in a pipeline using expressions. Basically, you need to be able to expand that out. Let me just show you what the actual stuff looks like. So percentage rollout, you need to be able to expand out all this stuff there we go, into this sort of format here. So this instruction is version department. There it is. So this is the instruction that you need to be able to expand out. So it's a little bit more complicated, but essentially we need to get this bunch here, and yeah. So some things you could try there are, if you write this out in a kind of a JSON format, you can then parse that JSON and break it out. So make sure the distribution is coming out as being the proper thing. But basically the doc's your friend there. Can be quite complicated. That's about it. If you have any questions, then give me a shout and I'll be happy to help. Thanks.